Hey guys, wanted to make a video showing you how I harvest berries, when I harvest them, what I do once I have them to make sure that all those seeds germinate. So the best time to wait is till they're literally popping out. At this point, you can actually see that what were red and white berries actually have a little green in them. And that's because these are like ready to go. It's actually pretty incredible that the seeds are already green. So that means they are super healthy and they're going to grow real quick. This is actually a triple. I've had plenty of double berries before, but never had triplets before. So what I'll do is just take some kind of container. I've been using bowls a lot recently just because they can fall all over and still get in there. And at this point, when they're this far out, you can really just kind of keep rubbing them. They're gonna keep coming. You don't want to force anything that isn't ready out. It will work, but I think it's a pretty common way that people get unhealthy seeds. There's actually, I've bought seeds off a grower that like half of them died and then saw pictures of them harvesting their spadix when it wasn't all the way done. And I was like, oh, that's why I wasted my money there. So we're at 2x speed here, just so you can see, going real quick. Normally I'm using 2 hands, but just because I had to film and I didn't remember where I put my tripod, I'm doing with 1. So if you do this when they're not ready, one of the risks you can run is that the kind of like gook that comes out of the berry, whatever that is called, gets stuck over the spadix. You can see it there. You see that like kind of just like gel that comes out of them. That will sit on the spadix and start to rot. Not saying you can't harvest the berries around it, but you're just opening yourself up for problems. So wait till they're ready to pull them out. If you don't, you can see an example here of me just trying to show you how you can kind of maneuver them out. I actually did this a little too hard and actually ended up breaking the spadix on this one. So I am going to show you how to harvest them if they're not 100% ready and popping out. In this case, it was perfectly fine. They were pretty large already, so I wasn't too worried about it. But I would suggest doing this not over the bowl like I do here, because all those little, I have no idea what they're called, but they will fall in there and make cleaning your berries harder. But basically, you just pop them out. Just be careful, and like I said, just avoid any mixture there. You don't want to make cleaning them even harder. So since my tent's in my parents' basement, I brought them home in a cup. What I'll do is add them to a bowl at home, and then I add water to that bowl. So I like to pop the berries directly in the water. It was the first time I ever saw someone do it. I think it's the easiest way to do it because they're kind of getting clean as soon as you're starting the process. So in the past, basically all I did was to just lean them up against the side and pop them. In this case, this is like the most berries I've ever harvested at once. So I can just want to show you, you can be pretty rough with them. I'm literally just like taking a handful at a time and squeezing. You're not going to crush the seeds. So don't be shy. At this point, what I do is fill it up with water, and you'll see how a lot of the berry coating, I don't know what the outside, the peel, floats to the top. So what I do is multiple times adding water and letting all that gunk float to the top. The seeds are heavier, so they stay on the bottom, and I just keep pouring them out. It's kind of a bad example with this one because I was doing it one hand and was staring through the screen to make sure it was still in frame. So I actually ended up pouring out a couple seeds in the process of this, but I'm telling you, if you're doing this and you're paying attention and not trying to make a video, it'll be fine. At that point, I'll go back in, pop any berries that I missed. You know, the water gets really murky, so you may have to do that part a few times. But I just keep doing this. It's basically washing them off every time. It's getting rid of some of those outer layers. And then there you can see just like beautiful, healthy, and clean berries. You can keep them in water for as long as you want. I know some people that have done that for a week or two to keep them hydrated. Especially if you don't have time to like sow them, then it's fine to do that. I'm now taking a Chinese food container. I put a layer of tree fern about 1 inch thick. And this is going to be a bad example of this because I have so many berries in here. I wasn't really thinking when I thought through this. I was focusing on the video. But I just pour them across the top of the tree fern. There's water in there already, and from the, getting all the seeds out. So that's going to hydrate a lot of the tree fern. I do want to make sure that tree fern gets nice and wet though. So I basically want to completely soak that entire substrate. So what I'll usually do, I use the sink here. I don't recommend that. I used one of those like 5-gallon like spray bottle things normally. So make sure it's all soaked, and then when you pour out that excess, it's incredibly important that you get to the last drop. I literally am tilting this thing like almost completely on its side to get all of that water out. Let it sit for a couple minutes and do it again. I think as that substrate hydrates, more water will settle at the bottom, and go until the very last drip is out. At that point, you can put the container on the top. I highly recommend those first like 3 days. Check it a few times to make sure there's no mold forming. And other than that, you put it in bright light and you are good to go.